Today on Hittin' Hard with Jon Chuckery, what are the expectations for Desmond Ridder as quarterback of the Falcons? And it was a really good win, a much-needed win for the Braves last night. Good start to their series up in New York. We're going to talk about all that and more. It is Hittin' Hard with Jon Chuckery on Locked On Sports Atlanta.
This is Hittin' Hard with Jon Chuckery, part of Locked On Sports Atlanta. And it starts now.
Welcome into another edition of Hittin' Hard with Jon Chuckery on Locked On Sports Atlanta. We thank you so much for being a part of the show. We ask you to head over to youtube.com, put in the browser Locked On Sports Atlanta, find us, subscribe to our page, growing every day. Appreciate everybody being a part of the new community that we're growing over there. Give us a review. Tell us what you think about the show. And, of course, I want you to follow me on my personal Twitter page. That would be at JMCH316. I told you yesterday that my favorite pick for the Atlanta Falcons in this draft was Desmond Ridder, the quarterback. I thought two things. One is they needed to address quarterback. I did not feel like kicking the can down the road and hoping and waiting for next year and you can get in the mix for one of the top guys is a smart strategy. If you need quarterback and you need young quarterback and you don't have it figured out, go get a quarterback. Now, not just waste a pick on a quarterback, but go legitimately get a quarterback that you draft and invest in. So I thought that was important. The other part is, too, I like Ridder and I like his skill set. And I talked about, I think, the value of where they got him from, and he's a winner in this, that, and the other. So what is the expectation? I'm hearing a lot of chatter about, well, maybe Ridder can come in and start and do this, that, and then. Slow your roll, everybody. Slow your roll, okay? There's a lot to like about Desmond Ridder, but if we're being honest about it, okay? First off, Desmond Ridder has to improve his accuracy as a quarterback. Last year at 64.9%. The year before was better, 66.2%. Before his college career, he's a 62% completion. Now, that's not a bad number in the NFL, but if that's your starting point in college, you've got to get that up. If you're going to be an effective quarterback in the NFL, you better be 65, 66%. The top guys push towards 70, but to the competition level that Desmond Ridder saw. Now, understand, look, because of how good Cincinnati has been the last couple of years, he did have games against Georgia, Alabama, Notre Dame, Indiana. He did play Power 5 teams over the course of the last couple of years, but a lot of his bones are made from Central Florida, Memphis, UConn, whatever school you want to throw, Houston, which is a better than average conference. I'm not going to completely knock the conference because of the non-Power 5s. It's got some of the best football, if not the best non-Power 5 conference in it. But there is some competition level that has to be factored in. There's always that curve of learning. Also, too, his offensive system that he ran in college. I mean, it's not a stay in the pocket, push the ball downfield. Now, Ridder's not a tuck it and go, run first kind of guy. He can run the football, and actually his rushing yards last year dropped quite a bit from the season before, but, that's a matter of developing as a quarterback. In the NFL, whether you like this or not, okay, we talk about running quarterbacks and mobile, you definitely want to have mobility. But the NFL isn't a tuck it and run type of league. Guys get killed doing that in the league. You still in the NFL have to be able to stand in the pocket, navigate your way through it, and push the ball downfield. That's still the NFL game. It's not just run around, huck it all around, drop back, run for your life, throw it up in the air, and this, that, and the other. That crap doesn't work in the NFL. That'll get you killed, and that'll make your career be knocked out in a heartbeat. Now, I know a lot of people have talked about the Russell Wilson thing. Well, Wilson was a third-round pick, and he came into – okay, let's remember a few things about the situation that Russell Wilson came into, okay? One is he had a 1,500-yard running back, double-digit touchdown guy. That kind of helps. Ain't nobody like that on this Falcons roster. He also had an offensive line that had Russell Okung, who was a Pro Bowl guard, and then he also had the first team All NFL center in Max Unger. So he had two outstanding offensive line. I apologize. Okung was a tackle, not a guard, but he had a Pro Bowl tackle and he had the first team All NFL center. Okay, with all due respect to the Falcons, they don't have multiple Pro Bowlers and first team All NFL guys running around to protect him. And then also adding the fact that their defense, with Clemens and Urban, they had two guys that combined for 20 sacks. Okay, the whole team didn't have 20 sacks. So many differences that it's not even comparable to the situation out there. The best thing for the Falcons is Ridder comes in, he learns the system, he works with Arthur Smith, he develops, some things about NFL quarterbacks and tendencies that you have to get right, works on his accuracy, and slowly works himself in. Now, I do think that Ridder very much could play this year because history says that Marcus Mariota is a guy who's going to get hurt. He's going to have the injury bug and he's going to find himself injured. So there could be a game or two and get through 6 to 7 weeks of Marcus Mariota before Desmond Ridder would be pressed into duty. But it's not a good idea in my book that Desmond Ridder comes in and tries to win the job and start right away and all those kinds of things. And I understand if you have a third-round quarterback, you're already looking at him as your guy, and there's always that overreaction. I get and understand that. But this is a guy, while he's got a lot of skills and he's got a lot of ability and he's a winner, has to work on certain things. You have to be more accurate in the NFL. You have to learn to play and navigate within the pocket in the NFL. You can't just run around for your life and roll out because you've got elusive ability and just think you're just going to throw it and run. It's not how the league works. Also, too, those windows of throwing the football. You don't get guys just always running wide open and free because you're playing, you're playing Navy. Okay? How many defensive backs from Navy? Yeah, I'm 50 years old. How many defensive backs from Navy I remember in the NFL? That'd be none. Okay? But those are the kinds of guys you play against in college. You won't get that luxury in the NFL. Windows are about that tight. You have to learn to throw in them. You have to learn to time the thing out. That's one of the things about Malik Willis that people are showing you on film is, hey, man, when he gets a guy going open, there's that time when he pats that football for just a second, throws and misses. Can't do that in the NFL. In the NFL, you got to take that ball, you see it, you got to throw it. You got to release that football. You can't afford to pat, and you can't do that in that league. It's too tight. So Ridder's a guy who's very smart, really skilled, but the best thing for the Falcons would be for him to ideally not have to play this year, but at least later in the season, second half of the season, if he gets some starts because of injury and things like that, but you got to let him grow and develop. Desmond Ridder starting right away for the Falcons is not a good thing, especially when you look at this roster and this offensive line and the challenges that they have. You're going to get a guy like that killed, and you're going to crush whatever development that he can have. All right, when we come back, how's your confidence about Terry Fontenot after this draft? Has it changed much? Has it stayed the same? We're going to talk about my confidence level with Terry Fontenot coming up. It is Hittin' Hard with Jon Chuckery on Locked On Sports Atlanta.